Hey, welcome back. Now we're good. All right, so we are going to start our workshop with Dr. Unity. James Simpson, you are ready to take over the show, sir. Go.
Sure.
Yes, please do. Go for it.
Okay, so what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to show kind of old school graphic wise asteroids. So one of the things I talk about when I talk to people about building games is, I had a question like, how do you know which games make money? I says, well, if you're trying to make a game to make money, you're in the wrong business, especially when you're starting off. One of the first things I tell people to do is start with something small. Don't try to build an MMO or something of that nature. Start with like Pong, and also do Asteroids and maybe Super Breakout and maybe even a clone of Pac-Man. So get familiar with how to use your system instead of trying to make, another Destiny 2 or Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, granted, you got all the pretty graphics and everything, but if you don't know how to use the mechanics behind it, then you're SOL. So, what I got here is I'm running right now Unity 2017.3. It came out last week or so. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. So, I'm going to create it right here. I'm going to call it Asteroids. And then we'll say create project. So the last video that I showed you how to use the interface and how to make a Plinko game. So this one, what we want to do, one of the first things you should do when you're going to be building a game is you have to actually sit down and think about it. You actually have to prepare yourself to actually what you're going to be creating. You just can't sit at a computer and start cranking out code. So one of the first things I do is okay, let's go and kind of break this out. So I got my handy dandy little notepad here. So with asteroids, what do we have? We have a player, right? What else do we have in asteroids? Oh, I don't know, asteroids. Okay, now we actually have two different types of asteroids. We have asteroids large, and we have asteroids small. Okay? We're also going to want some kind of high score system and a current score. Okay? Other things to think about here is, and then you're going to want some kind of a main application, which is actually where everything's going to be running. Okay? And then, last but not least, how do you destroy the asteroids? Well, you can either slam into them with your player, or you can shoot them. So we're probably going to have some kind of bullet. Okay? So we think about that. We have all the actual game elements that we're going to be needing. And you'll notice something about these when you start breaking it up. Well, a player is going to have a health. A bullet's going to have a health. You start seeing similarities, and the bullet's going to move, the player's going to move, the asteroids are going to move. The only thing that doesn't really move is the high score and the current score. Okay, so we can break these up right here into something called, I'm going to call them game elements. Okay, and then this is going to be a collection of different classes. And we're going to be sharing some values between them, okay, such as such as position, rotation, not really scale in this case, and instances. Okay, so these would be the last things we want to do. So the first thing we want to do is we want to build some configuration. So we do know, when we're looking through our game right here, the game mechanics, we're going to be doing some rotation. And we're going to be using a function to do degrees to rads. So we're going to have a degree to rad, and that's going to equal something to the amount of 0.017453F. And then we're going to need such as player speed. Player speed. And we're going to have player speed default, like what you're currently at, and then player speed max. So let's go player max speed, and we're going to say player default speed, and then we're going to need to do the same thing for the asteroids. And then we're going to have the bullet speed. We're going to need to define the width and height of our actual game environment that we're going to be playing at. In this case, we're going to do a width and a height. And we're also going to need to know the position angle, or the rotation angle of the player. So we're going to say player rotation angle. And we're also going to need the same thing for the asteroid. Actually, we may change that to speed. I'll think about that for a moment. Okay. So here we are. We're breaking down our components of our Asteroids game. We're going to need some graphics. And we're going to need a player ship. We're going to need an asteroid. We're going to need a bullet. And we'll probably leave it there. We won't have to get into explosions or anything, but we'll still have them break apart. When we do the smaller asteroids, we're just going to probably bring down the scale of it. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to start with my game elements class. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to right click, create a folder, call this one scripts. I know I'm going to be needing a texture. I know I'm going to be needing prefabs. Let's see what else I'm going to need for this time being. That should be it for right now. So let's go in here and we'll create a C# script. We'll call this there we go. Okay, so I want to sit here. I'm going to double click here. We're going to bring up our Visual Studios 2017. One of the first things I do, you can do this in Unity. You can actually go and change your default scripts of how they actually come in. Let me see. Well, I won't worry about that right now. So what I can do is hold down Control, then hit KD in succession, and that will move these little curly braces so they line up. I personally like this format. Instead of having my curly braces at the end, it just helps me organize things. I like seeing a lot of dotted lines. So here we're going to do a serialized field. And this one is going to be a public float. We'll do radius. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me just go ahead and break these down. Let's see. We're going to need, well, this is common to the players and the asteroid. We're going to need an angle. Going to need, obviously, position. Position X. Obviously, position Y. We're gonna need to know the change in positions, like the velocity or the change, the delta. That's the one I'm looking for. Delta X, delta Y, and then some way to determine the hit points or the life of the actual asteroids themselves. So here we'll do a bool, and we'll say health, and we'll say health is true. In other words, they have health. Okay. You can use, in Unity, you can use the destroy function to destroy this. We're going to try and keep everything in the main game loop so we can organize when we're actually going to be destroying things. Let's see here. Delete these. Let's see, paste. Oops. I'm getting a little happy there. Okay. Okay, so let's kick on over to Unity. See if this compiles. Oh, wow, it compiled. Okay, well, you notice one thing that I have is still inheriting from model behavior. We're still going to be using this as our base class, but with C# you can't actually inherit from more than one classes unless you use an interface. So let's go ahead and start working on let's go ahead and build a player. So we're going to go 3D object, cube maybe? Yeah, cube will work. Oh, we want to make this orthogonic. Okay, let's see here. So we have a character, we have our little cube here. Now, I have some graphics that I put together just a moment ago. And these are going to be these textures. So I'm just going to go over here, turn the alpha transparency onto them. And I'm going to be doing this in 2D. So I'm going to put it in this view right here. I'm going to take my player ship, drag and drop it right onto my cube. And if you look over here, it'll automatically create a material called player ship. So one of the first things we want to do is we want to change this to unlit, transparent. Now we have our player ship. Should name this player. Yeah, that works. Let's hit play. Nothing spectacular happens, which is good. So let's go ahead and create a plane for our background. We'll go ahead and zero this out, change it to -90, then scale the snot out of this. We are in 2D. We want to actually have this back a little bit so it's not interfering with our cube. And then we want to create a material, black. We will drag this black material into the background, but you see how you have this little gradient? That's because we still need to go to unlit and say color, and it'll make it all nice and black. So now we're starting to get the look and feel of an asteroid game. Okay, so we have our little ship, we have our camera, and we have our background. So let's go ahead and start working on a player. Okay. So we know we're going to be having an update function. We want to break this down so we can start. Well, with asteroids, the way asteroids works is when the player leaves the screen, like on the top, it will appear at the bottom. And the same thing if it goes with the popping on the right, it will appear on the left. It's like wrapping, okay? So one of the first things we're going to need to also have in here is we're going to need to have, let's see, some kind of ability for thrust. And we're going to be able to reset the player position when the game is either starts or when the player dies. So we're going to go void reset player position. Let's see here. We're going to need to reset the positions of the X and Y and probably the delta Y. So let's go ahead and go to position X will be 0. POS Y equals 0. Oh, I guess I gotta change my behavior to game element, otherwise I'm not gonna find any of these. Ah, there we go. That's what I want to do. We're gonna do a delta equals 0, and then the delta Y equals 0, and then we're gonna need to, in case you are moving, we need to reset that. So that because if you're giving thrust, so we're going to say thrust would have to equal false. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's go back to Unity. Let's go to, let's create a main. Fire that up, KD. So let's go ahead and get a reference to our game object of our player. I like that. Okay. And then we want to see if we can go ahead and get him start moving. So we do that in our update function. We can say if input dot get key. We could do get key down, but in this case, I think it'd be better if we do get key code dot right arrow. Let's see. So we're going to need to go right arrow. We're going to be having a left arrow so that you can rotate, and we're also going to be having a thrust. So here we do the left arrow, then probably an up arrow. Good. Okay, so now we need to start configuring the rotation of our character, because right now we can't move. We have our resetting of a player, but we have nothing to update that loop on inside the gameplay element itself. So can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with I
There
hope
we
so.
go. Yes. Sorry, I had my microphone
Okay, no
muted.
problem. No problem.
Yes, we can hear you. Live chat. Everybody can hear you. I think so. And also, be sure live chat. If you have any questions for Dr. Unity here, post them in chat, and we will definitely forward them along. And continue, please.
Sure. Okay. So I need to start doing some kind of updates with this on a per frame basis, and that's what we're going to be using in our update function. So an update function is on a per frame. So if your frame rate is 60, it runs 60 frames a second. If it's 30, it runs 30 frames per second. We can't adjust that for delta time, but due to the fact that I only have 40 minutes to write this, I'm probably not going to get all into that right now. So we're going to do an if. Let's see. We're going to do a thrust. If we're applying thrust, then we're going to be doing one thing. Else, we're going to be doing another. So if we are having thrust to it, we're going to be updating the delta on that. So which would be something to the fact of delta plus equals, I convert a float to, let's see, what is it, math f dot cosine. There it is. Cosine. We're going to need the angle. We're going to multiply that by our degrees to rads, what we're talking about, which was in here. Our degrees to rad is that number. We're going to multiply that by our player default speed, which we've also talked about. We're going to say is 0.025. Now that's kind of like a magic number, so we'll find out what that number is here in just a minute. Let's see here. 1, 2. Where am I missing something at? It doesn't like. Oh, it doesn't. I didn't do an angle. Oh, that's better. Okay, so
There you go. You gotta love errors when they show up in Visual Studio. Hey, Dr. Unity,
thank you, Senor.
we have a request in chat. Is it possible for you to lower your resolution so that we can see the text a little better, or increase the text size here? Oh, haha. How's that, folks?
Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's huge. I think they like it.
Okay, this is family friendly. Let's see, 0.99 f. Okay. So if we're applying thrust, there is our delta for our x. We're going to need to do the same thing, except we're going to be doing a sign on that. So we'll go here, change this to a y, and we're going to be changing this to a dots. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, everything's the same. Yes. Okay, we got to be setting the speed in this. Float speed equals math f dot. I think we're going to need the square root. There it is, square root. Okay, and we're going to need the delta x. And we're going to multiply that by delta x. We're going to add that to square root for delta y times delta y. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we need to check to see if. Let's check our speed value, make sure we're not going insanely crazy speed. If player max speed, we said 0.25, we'll say 2. We're going to change our delta x would be times equals the player max speed. So if it's over 2, we're going to set it to 2, and then if it's do that for the y value too. How does that look? Yeah, it looks good. Okay, now let's start updating positions based upon the change. We got position X plus equals our change of our delta, position Y of our delta Y. Okay, now here's where Unity can get a little fun. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to change because of the values that you're going to have inside Unity right here. So I have my player right here as soon as it's done compiling. So I have my player right here. And if you watch over here in the transform, if I move it over here, you'll see this like 8.99 or 8.93 and back over here be negative. It's because of how we're zoomed in onto it using the type of camera that we're using. So what I need to do is I need to use a little bit of routines to actually convert the world position to screen point positions. So we do that by doing a vector 3 and then screen position will equal the camera. We're only having one camera here, so we can use the camera.main, I can spell main, dot world to screen. That's what I want. Okay, world screen print. We're gonna make a new vector 3. No, I gotta get the transform. I gotta get the transform of what I'm doing right now. Position. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's going to give me the screen position of where the player's at by using the transform.position of that game object. This player script will be attached to the cube that we're using for our player, so that's why it's able to get the transform.position. Because all game objects has a transform component. Okay, even the empty ones. So now we need to check to see if it goes off the screen. So we're going to go if screen position.x is greater than the width. We're going to say this is 1270. Then we're going to need to say position x equals camera dot main dot screen world to point. Okay, then we're going to say new vector 3 a 0 comma screen position dot y. Yeah, be the y value I think on this one. And then we're going to go dot x because I want to keep the y value. I'm only want to modify the x in this one. So yes, that makes sense. I'm going to have to basically do this 4 times for each of the different 4 corners. So let's see. This one, it's going to be, since we're using screen point, that's going to start in the bottom left corner. So we're going to go, this would be 0. Then this x would be new vector 3. I need to say the width. The width is going to be 1270. Keep them with the same y. Yes, that's good. So now we got to deal with the x value, which is going to be with our height. And our height, I said, was going to be 720. Oops, the other 720. So now here we're going to be changing this y to, let's see, it would be, I want to keep the x value so I can keep this. Be 0, 0, and then this would be y. Yeah, that looks good. Now we're going to say position y. Let's see here. This would be still position. No. Oh, missing something here. That's going to be an x. That's going to be an x. We need to do it based upon, or if it's going less than 0. Less than 0. And then here we need to, which one is it? It's going to have to be this one. That's going to be our height of 720. Does that look right? That looks right. Now let's transform dot. We want to do rotation, but we want to do Euler angles. Yeah. Equals new vector 3, 0 comma 0 comma, and then the angle. We want to do it on our rotation of our z. Transform the position, the other position equals new vector 3. Now we're going to be actually updating our player into our position x, position y, and then we're not doing anything with our, let's see, is that all right? Okay, let's see if it compiles. Okay. Yes, we have our health set for true. Plain was going to be background. We're going to need to create an empty. Call this main. We apply our main to there, and we attach our player to there. Can we play yet? No, we can't. We have to, because we put these in here for the updating, but now I actually have to tell it to do something. So I need to get a hold of the component of the player. So let's go public, because I need a reference to the actual player itself. We're going to call this player info. Okay, so now that I have a reference to it, as soon as I get back over there, I can go player info dot. I want to adjust the angle because we're actually rotating it. That's going to be, is that right? Right? It's going to be minus. Is that? Hang on. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, this is right. So the rotation angle, we'll say 2. And then we'll do this. We'll do a plus. And then up is actually we're going to apply thrust. So we're going to be doing here instead of an angle, we're going to be doing what? Thrust, right. We're going to make that thrust equal true. The other true. But this one, the way we want thrust to work is if we hit the up arrow, okay, we're applying thrust, but when we release it, we want to start cooling back down. So instead of this, we're going to do this a key and go get key down because we want this to be happening while it's the key is down. Otherwise, we're going to be player info dot thrust equals false because we want to slow it down. Okay, let's see if that compiles. Nice. Okay, so in the main here, we're gonna have to put our player back over here, and let's hit. Well, first off, I guess I know what I want to do here. I want to create a folder, scenes, file, save scene as, scenes, main. Let's hit play. Ha! Wow. Okay. It's moving around. Let's see what happens when we go off the screen. Probably did that backwards again. Ah, yay! Let's go this way. Okay. Well, it won't be asteroids unless we start shooting things. So let's go ahead and start doing our bullet routine. So let's go ahead and create a script. Call this bullet. Control KD. We need to change this to game element. Okay. We need to, in our start, we need to start. We don't need to reset bullets. The bullets are going to respawn from our player position. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing that we're doing in our update for our players. We should be able to copy some of this code over. Except we don't care about the thrust. Let's just try this for a second. Go over here to bullet. We're still going, we don't care about this. We're not going to reset it. It's not going to be slowing down. We don't need our speed because we're going to be having it based upon our delta, so we don't need to worry about that. I think that's it. Yeah, I just need to update the deltas. Okay, let's do this. So vector 3 screen position. Well, we already have that written in our player, so where's this right here? Just copy this. In fact, we don't want it to wrap because with the bullet we actually want it to leave the screen. So let's go ahead and paste this. Vector 3 is blah blah blah. Let's see. Screen position X. Let's see. We want to say if it's less than 0. Actually, I think we can write this all on one line. Screen position dot X is greater than the width would be 1270. Or it's going to be screen position dot Y is greater than the height of 720, or the screen position dot Y is less than 0. And then we want to This is what I was talking about before. We can actually destroy it, but we actually want the main loop to manage this. So we can say we're going to set our health to equal false, which means the bullet should be destroyed. And once again, like we did with our player, we need to update these two positions. Let's see, it's 0, 0. Let's see, this is, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is what we're going to start creating in Prefab. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and go create. Remember, there's multiple different ways to create primitives. You can go to Game Object, you can go to 3D Object and say create cube there. You can create, I'm going to create one here just because I can. I'm going to drag and drop this bullet in here. As you see, it makes a new texture. The same thing I did last time, which I'm going to take this, go to Unlit, say Transparent, and you'll see there's my bullet. Bullet looks kind of big. We might want to actually kind of bring that down a little bit. So my guess would be, see, this is a cube bullet. We're going to, let's just cut that in half. Kind of position that. Yeah. That's going to spawn right there. May have to make that just a tiny bit smaller. Because what's going to happen is because we're going to have a spawn from the center of our ship, and our center of our ship would be right about there. So otherwise you'll see like a little thruster coming out of the back. That may work, but we don't want it to be too tiny. So we'll do that. We'll say make that a bullet. Our health is true. We'll put that into our prefab. Okay. Pretty good. Let's get this thing firing. So let's go back to our main. Let's see, we're going to do another keyboard input. So it'll be if input dot. We don't want to just be shooting like a stream. So we actually want the person to pick up their finger and drop it down. So we'll say get key down, key code, space. Namely people fire. So what we're going to do is we're going to instantiate the bullet. The problem is we don't have a reference to it. So we'll say game object, and we'll call this bullet. Okay, so now we can do this. Game object, my bullet. This is going to be a horrible name. Bullet game object equals. Why I'm doing this, I need to get a reference to the actual object I'm about to instantiate from the prefab. Therefore, I can actually set the position, rotation, scale, as well as the have control over it, and have it put it into a game element list, so I can loop through all these game elements to know what the status is based upon their health. So we're going to instantiate that. We're going to say we're going to do a bullet, which we just declared up above a moment ago, not buller. Let's see, we're going to make this as a game object. Oh, maybe if I spell it right. Okay, so now I've created my instance of my game object for my bullet. So now I need to give it a name. My bullet, the name will be, there's a nice name for it. Otherwise, when you instantiate something, it brings the actual object into the hierarchy and uses the word clone at the end. And when I see that, I'm like, well, you can just name it. I feel more comfortable naming it. So now I need to do a bullet, my bullet. I'm creating a new one. I need to get a reference to the actual component of the bullet, because I need to be able to set the angle and position and the default transform. So we're going to say my bullet game object dot, we're going to do a get component, and on the get component we're going to obviously get a reference to the bullet. And my bullet dot, we'll start with angle, I guess. Okay, we want to start where the player is at. So we're going to do player info, because that's where that class is, dot, we're going to get its angle. My bullet dot, we'll do position equals the player info dot position X. Obviously we need that for the Y. I don't know if that was actually longer to type. And by default, what I'm going to have is with this bullet object as a prefab, I'm having the game object turned on. So there's a possibility it may flash. So what I may do is turn this off for the time being. Therefore, when I instantiate the game object, since I do have a reference to it, I can do something called a set activation on that right there. So let's go ahead, and my bullet.transform.position is going to equal the player.transform.position. This is going to make it into the center, and I need to do the same thing for the rotation equals player.transform.rotation. Yes. I'm using world coordinate system instead of local coordinate system. Otherwise, it could be, you can have things nested inside of a game object hierarchy. For now, for this quick and dirty demo, I'm just going to use the position. That's why I have everything based on a 0 location. Bullet game object dot. Now I got to turn it on. Yes. And that should do it. If everything went right here. Yeah. I should be able to shoot a bullet. So let me go to my main. I need to take my bullet, put it there, hit play, give it a little thrust in space. Whoa! Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a little fast, but got a problem. These are not destroying. Let's take a quick peek at that. Oh yeah, that's right, because I just set the health default. I'm not doing any kind of game cleanup just yet. So speaking of game cleanup, I guess we should start putting that in right now too. Let's see here. Let's go to our main. I'm gonna probably we're gonna need using system collection dot. I already have generic. My bad. Yeah. So here, let's do a list of game objects, and this will be our game elements. Yeah. That works. Okay. So every time a bullet is instantiated, we need to add this there. So we're going to say game element list dot add, and then here we will actually put our my bullet object. So what that's going to do is every time we create a bullet, it's going to go into this array, this list, I should say, and we can check on that to find out what's the status of it is, like what the health is. Okay, so this is still in our update here. So we'll do a, because you can't add and remove things in a for each loop, I'm going to do a for loop. So we're going to say index equals 0, and then we'll do index is less than the game element list dot count index plus plus. Okay, so we'll say something like if well, we know we're going to be putting other things inside this game element list, such as our asteroids and our large and small asteroids here. So we need to plan this. We need to start looking for, we can use the name. There we go. There's a reason why I like naming things. So here, what we'll do is we'll say if the game element list index dot get component, no. Name is equal to bullet. Okay, now we can do a conditional check on here too. We can go if I feel like I'm going to do this backwards. Game element list index dot get component, because we know we're on a bullet, so we can actually get the component of the bullet, which is where we have the health boolean. So if the game element boolean, oops, what did I do there? dot health. Then we want to destroy it, but we can't destroy it inside this for. We need to have another array to like clean it up, like destroy things later. So we'll do that right here. Public list. We'll say a bunch of game objects. Here we'll say clean. Clean game elements list. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Probably need to set these somewhere, like probably in the start. Hold on a second. Equals new. Equals new. Oops. Yeah. Okay. So we will take this and we'll add it. But we want to add this actual game element, so we're going to game element list index. Yeah. And then what we can do is after this, we can do a for each. Oh, that was kind of nice. Well, I got just kind of helped me with that, but I need to do this in the clean. Let's see. I don't know what magic keystroke I did for that one, but here we'll do. No. We gotta destroy it. We're going to destroy the item inside there. For whatever, in this case, specifically the bullet. And then we're going to do game element list remove because we need to remove it from the index that you would just have it from. Yeah. Okay. No, it's the health is no. The health will be the opposite because we want to see if it's false. Because in other words, we set it to false when it leaves the screen. So let's try this. See if any of this works. Cool. It looks like when it leaves the screen, it leaves this frame that I have right here. It disappears. And it doesn't wrap around. I don't have all these clones going around. Okay. Well, that wasn't too terribly bad. Probably need to do. What am I doing here? I need to. I removed it from the game element list. Now I need to remove it from the. I need to clear this list out because we've gone through and destroyed all that. Yeah, that works. Okay. Let's see here. I guess the next thing would be. How about an asteroid? Go ahead and start working on an asteroid. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw the object, cube, with my little asteroid graphic, drag and drop that onto there. You know the drill. You go to here, unlit, transparent. That looks kind of tiny. So let's go ahead and see. Asteroid, let's make that. Yeah, that works. Okay. We need this as a prefab because we're going to be instantiating these, which means we need to go into our main and create a public game object AS asteroid. Okay. We need to do asteroid code. Let's go ahead and do some asteroid code real quick. Let it compile, create asteroid. And the asteroid doesn't really do anything. It just kind of lounges around and it moves. So here we need to do a game element. Okay, let's just see here. And our let's see here, on our player, what do we have in our player here? That would be reset. We're never going to be resetting that. We need to have our asteroids have a rotation and a position, which I think is all of this. Let's do this. So we're not going to be dealing with thrust. We will be dealing with deltas. Not really much speed. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do. Let's pick a random range. So we know we want to float, and we want to have some kind of default random rotation. Random dot rotation range. We want to go 0. Well, this would be the delta to speed. We'll say whatever 0.05 f. Yeah, that works. Why give me? Okay, that works. Therefore, they all kind of move at a little bit of a different. The delta. Oh, we need the angle that they're going to move. Then we're going to say the same thing. We're going to need a this float random range. We're going to do this. What angle we want them to start off at? We'll say 360. And we want their health. They're going to have a health of true. Yeah. And it'd be the same thing as the player in this respect, where if they go off the screen, we want them to come back on. So we can actually copy over, should be all of this. Screen position. I feel like I've missed something. Ah, there we go. I need that. That's kind of important. Okay, so let's just see here. That'll be vector 3 screen position. If it goes off, we want to pop back. It looks good. It does a, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and, what did I do with my asteroid? Oh, there it is. Put it back in prefab. We're going to bring asteroid out. We're going to put asteroid on there. Yes, we're going to say apply. Let's just leave it on there for just a second and hit play. Well, it moves. Let's just see if it moves again. And it moves in a different direction. I'm happy with that. That's kind of fast. Okay. So, but at least it does appear, and it does move. So what we're going to do here is we need to have that thing move. Let's see how we want to do this. We can, oh, I need to create it. So let's go ahead and we want to create this in our main. So we want to do this during our, like a game init. So let's go ahead and do a void game init. Because we actually want to create these things at the beginning. No, let's call this init game. Yeah, there we go. So what we want to do, we want to do a for loop of a int. Oops. Yeah. Index equals 1. No, we'll make it 0. Index is less than 6. That sounds like a good starting point for asteroids. And index plus plus. Okay, so now we're going to just we can go ahead and just generate some asteroids here by going to game object, like what we did for the bullet. We're going to do game object my asteroid equals instantiate, and we're going to do the asteroid that we did as a game object. Yes. We're going to name the asteroid dot name will equal. We're going to name this large because that's what we're going to be creating at the beginning. And that will go ahead and create 6 of them. Okay, we will also need to add this to our game element list because eventually we're going to have to change our health status. Oh, that was silly. No, we don't want to do this. Well, that's not entirely true. We want to do this. I'm getting silly in my old age. Okay, let's just make sure we have the asteroid hooked up to our main. Asteroid, drag that right there, hit play. I don't think I called it. Oh, yeah, I'm not calling a net game. So after that, we will call a net game. People were probably screaming at me. Why wasn't it working? Okay, so we got some asteroids. The only problem is, as I mentioned about how the asteroid is, it's going to all spawn at this location right here. So if I say reset position, and if I quickly hit this button right here, you'll see all these asteroids be more or less at the 0 point. So what we want to do is we want to have them spawn away from the player. And how I want to do that is I gotta put this in a loop. Let me try something here. Generate asteroid. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't need to do the loop anymore. I'm still gonna need to add this in there. And then here, what we will do is we will do a do loop. And we'll say my asteroid dot transform dot position. That's not even close to position. Will equal new vector 3. And what we can do is we can random dot range. When we looked at that numbers before, how it was +8 and -8, we'll keep it with something like that. We'll just say -7 and 7. And then we'll also do a random range for the y value. And then we'll do, well, it's probably 7.5 to 2.5. We'll just say -2, 2. And we're not doing anything in the z, so yeah. And now we can actually get the distance between two game objects by using the vector3.distance, and you pass a source and a target, or source and destination game object. So what we'll do here is we'll do a while loop. Remember, be careful because while loops can, if you screw this up, you can get your Unity locked up. My asteroid.transform.position, and for the source, which would be the asteroid, and we want to compare it against the player.transform.position, and we need a magic number, 5. 5. We'll pick 5. Okay, KD. Oops, why were you trying to build? Oh, that works. Did we get anything in our console? That should have. Okay, let's see here. Yes, that looks pretty good. Not sure why this did not work with our distance. Oh, we got 3 minutes. So let's just go ahead and at least start shooting some asteroids. What we need to do is on our asteroids, we gotta make sure we can use rigid bodies on our devices, which means we have to go to our player, put a rigid body, not that one. And we will turn off the gravity and turn it as kinematic. And on our asteroids, we will turn this into a trigger. Because when we use a trigger, what we can do is on our asteroids, we can use a function called void on trigger enter. And what on trigger enter does, it fires once when the two units or two objects collide. And then there's on trigger stay, which happens as they still are connection. And then there's on trigger exit when they no longer touch. So what we want to do here is if other dot game object dot name is going to equal the we named that bullet, right? Right. Then we're going to go ahead and set the health status of this to false. That should be it. So I should be able to shoot them now. Let's see how well that worked. Go ahead and save that scene while we're at it. It's still spawning on me. I know what the problem is. We don't have a bullet rigid body on the. Why are you not colliding? Asteroids, except for its trigger. Pretty sure I'm actually hitting these things on a. So what you can do is in the scene view, take it off of 2D, and I want to find. Oh, great, my bullet disappeared. Try something here. Oh, my bullet is definitely going through them. I am using is kinematic. Oh, I bet you this is working. We can always test it by going to, we set it default. We're going to go debug.log am I being hit? And that should spam the console for a second when I shoot. Let's just make sure that's working. Yeah, see, it says I'm being hit down here in the console. The reason why, because in my main loop, I'm only doing it for bullet. I'm only checking for the health of bullet. So we need to do this. And then we're going to say if the game element is equal to, just get a correct spelling here, I called it asteroid large. We will put there, right there. This will be changed to asteroid. There it is. We want to still check the health. And we want to set this to being destroyed. So let's just see if that works. Yay! Oh, wow. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn off so we're not spamming the console anymore. Okay, so we got our player moving, we got our bullets firing, and we're hitting our asteroids. Let's see if I can wrap something up in a few minutes. We want to be able to have something to respawn more asteroids, right? So what we want to do is we want to have some kind of.
Or James, if you want.
We have this thing right here for restarting the game, the init game, which is going to go ahead and generate the asteroid. We can just call generate asteroid itself, where this game actually always does 6. So down here at the end of the loop, we want to do something like if random.range. We'll give it a value between 100, and then we'll say is greater than. I usually create this number really close to where it needs to be, 97 or 98. And then I want to call generate asteroid. Well, what am I doing? Okay. Oh, they are spawning back.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, there you go. Hey, this would make for some very interesting content for part 2.
Yes, I mean I can. After this, I can go ahead and break it up and have like smaller ones, and they're basically subdividing into you instantiate into 2 using a for loop, and you would do the same thing in your main.
Yeah.
You would just do another conditional check in here for asteroid large. You would create something called asteroid small. And then here, when the asteroid is actually being destroyed, when you would add it to the clean list, you would essentially call this generate asteroids, but probably with a smaller scale, so they start from the same spot. So yeah, I don't mind doing this as a part 2, or at least an add-on for the Patreon people.
Right on. Well, very good. This has been fantastic. I know a lot of our viewers have been just jaw dropped at your speed here. So don't forget, folks. We will be uploading this to YouTube, and also the video will be available, so you can hit pause and follow along, little by little. But thank you so much for this. This has been phenomenal. Definitely looking forward to a part 2 of this. I know there's a lot of other little things we can do, like the small asteroids, rotations, destroy bullets, score, and animations, sound effects, stuff like that. The list goes on. Asteroid, and for those think that Asteroid is just a simple little game, yeah, it's nice to see. Oh, yeah, and the UI, too. Don't forget about that. Absolutely. All right. Well, cool. While he's doing some little final touches here, I'm going to go run through some quick announcements for everybody. So thanks to our Patreons, as he mentioned here. He's Dr. Unity, and James Simpson is one of our Patreons, as well as Stephen Kofi, Burton Posley, Lee Friedman, and Tress Carpenter. Our Patreon is for the Georgia Game Developers... I'm going to learn to talk here in a minute. The Georgia Game Developers Association, which is a nonprofit organization. So your support will help us with efforts to improve game developers in their community, and as well as helping to bring better games to life. So our streams are for gamers looking to learn more about what goes into making games, and for designers looking to break in, and experienced designers to improve their skills, like building asteroids with the Doctor. And don't forget, certain levels of our Patreon members get to join access on our live vocal chat on our live streams, like Andrew, who's been sitting there quietly letting James work so hard.
Yeah, I've been heckling elsewhere.
Yeah, heckling us in chat, but letting Dr. James work his heart out over here. Okay, next we have some merchandise. I am not wearing one right now. It's okay, you can't see me anyway. If you go to cafepress.com/GGDA, you can definitely find some of our GGDA coffee cups, t-shirts, and everything. Just go out there, go buy it right now. As we mentioned, we have a YouTube channel. Be sure to follow that YouTube channel and click like on our videos. That's also very important. All of these videos that you see here will be available on Mixer for the next 14 days, and then it will also be uploaded on YouTube. So let's see, and then finally, our next Georgia Game Developers Association meeting is going to be January 9th at Georgia State University for a look on how to succeed at a game jam, because the global game jam is coming right around the corner. All right, so again, thank you everybody for tuning in to tonight's stream. Be sure to follow our channel and scroll down and look below. I update this about the GGDA streams as soon as we get them confirmed. Next Tuesday, we will be doing a first look at a tank skirmish game with Michael Rivette, who is a KSU student working on a multiplayer game. And so you'll have me and Mike and some other people playing along with him as he demos his first game as he's building it right now. Hopes to have it released by later 2018. But we do first looks, personal interviews, meetings, and also these workshops. And we're also, as we mentioned in chat, are looking forward to doing more workshops, not just in game development, but art, sound, etc. We are working on scheduling that. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Stay tuned for a couple of commercials, and thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, Dr. Unity, for building such an awesome game. All right. Good night, folks.